Hello. Um, let's talk a little bit about OpenID and how to implement it in your own website. Um, just to begin with, you should be familiar with what OpenID is, and probably you already have an OpenID. I do too, and I use my OpenID as my provider for that. There are several others, but yeah, OpenID is good. To implement this on your own website, we need some very simple steps to be able to communicate with OpenID providers like my OpenID. What I have done is that I have an OpenID and I have added in the source code on my website here, I have added a few link tags in the header. Basically, the first one here, the OpenID.server, tells where the endpoint is for communication with my OpenID provider. The second one, the delegate, means what my real OpenID is that I got from my provider when I signed up, and it's this one. Because I have these two tags here on my page, that allows me to use my own website URL as an OpenID that I can use to authenticate myself with on various sites on the internet. So let's go and look at how we can implement this in our own ASP.NET website. Here I have a simple web page called login.aspx. As you can see here, it has two controls, a text box and a button. Let's just run this. Yeah, see, this is pretty simple. If we look at the button click event handler here, we can see that there is some communication going on with a static class called OpenID. That's a very simple, small class that I wrote to handle communication to and from an OpenID provider. It doesn't matter which provider, just OpenID in general. And it has a login method. Now this login method takes the input of the text box here, and then takes two more parameters. One is called two strings. One is required parameters, and the second is optional parameters. These two, we don't need them, but but I want to use these because what I want when people they log into my website, or basically when they sign up for the first time to use my website, is that I have an email and a full name. That's my requirements. So for a sign up process, this is what I need, and this is what I want you to provide me, so I can register you in my database and all that. Secondly, there are these optional parameters. I would like to know the country and language as well. I don't need it because I can ask you maybe otherwise, but if you want to provide them, if you want to give them to me, then I would like them. Basically here what happens is that the login method redirects to your OpenID provider, asking you to authenticate and to provide me with these required and optional parameters. So let's try and do that. See, this is very simple code. So let's head into this form here. Now I use my own website as my OpenID. So let's try and log in. This should take me to my provider, which it does. My OpenID. Here we have my persona. This is my information that I provided to my OpenID at some point. And now I have three options down here. Do I want to allow, in this case, my login page, access to this information, and do I want them or not, or I can allow forever, which means that I will not go into this page at my OpenID whenever I log in on from my own login.aspx web page. So, but in this case, I'll just allow once, and what happens now is that we get redirected back to the login ASPX with a lot of stuff up here in the query string. Now you see the information here. This is my OpenID. This is the one that I entered here in the text box, and this is the information that I got back from my OpenID. Now I can use it to whatever I want, but let's just see how I got that information. If we go into the page load event here, or event handler, what I do here is that I ask the OpenID class, static class. I asked for a property called is OpenID request, and in this case it is, because as you can see here, we obviously return from an OpenID, since it has all these special. These are standard query strings according to the spec. So we know that this comes from an OpenID provider. So when we move down here to this line where we authenticate, then what OpenID.authenticate does is that it makes sure that I am that person that just entered my OpenID in the text box, and that I just didn't paste this directly into that I didn't write this URL directly, but that I actually went to the myopenid.com site and authenticated. And it returns a little class here with a very few parameters. One of them is success. Now I could have pressed deny on the myopenid provider instead of allow, and then of course success would have been false, or is success would have equaled false. Now then I just go in and get some stuff here. The identity here, the OpenID, I write that data.identity, and then all the parameters that I ask for: email, full name, country, language, and I write them out here. They are also in the parameters, and that's basically it. So now I got all the information that I want, and I got security. I know that you are the person who owns the OpenID. In this case, my website URL. So I know that I am the rightful owner of that OpenID. Now, if the email, full name, country, and language is correct or not, I really don't know. But that's not important here, because whenever you have an email or full name, a country fields that your users have to fill in, they can write whatever they want anyways. So this is kind of exactly the same. The important thing is that we, in a very few lines of code, was able to do authentication and to do the redirection forward and back. And now the only thing here missing would be to do some database work to log the person with this specific OpenID into your website and do whatever is needed from there on. So this is pretty simple. This is pretty simple. I won't go into the OpenID class but trust me, it's very simple as well. It only has two public methods, and a property. So simple stuff. Well, thanks for watching.